Hello, everybody. It is Ephemeral Style here to take you through our Week 2 matchup in the Turn 17 Rocks Season 4 Draft League versus our good friend TrulyAlexO and his team, the Sweet Tea Dreams. Looking at this team, I actually have a pretty good matchup. Darkrai is, it's a menace to every team, but it's really the only threat that I'm scared about on this team besides Sinistra. Terra Sinistra that can turn into a Ghost, Water, or Steel type. I'm really expecting Ghost to be the Terra, actually. Water kind of gets punished by our Serena, our Vigavolt, our Zapdos, and Steel opens you up to Mamoswine, and when your only other ground immunities are Gyapdos and Thundurus, and you could be taking like an Ice Crash or an Ice Shard or something, that's just not great. So I'm expecting Terra Ghost to be the Terra type of choice if Sinistra is going to be the Terra captain. Glacier could also be a powerful Terra captain in this matchup. Like a Choice Band Terra Ice Glacier can overwhelm the team that we're bringing and sort of force a couple sacks back and forth, as Glacier is bulky enough to trade with a lot of Pokemon and live a hit and get a big one off of its own, even though it's very slow. Otherwise, I think we're pretty well equipped to handle a lot of the Pokemon on this team. Double Dance Klefki could be scary with Stored Power and Draining Kiss because our Dark type is Greninja, so we are bringing something for that. So let's go ahead and get into the team that we built for this matchup. Up first is our Azelf coming off the bench. Azelf has a really good matchup here. It's faster than everything on the opposing team, unboosted since Darkrai. And with the coverage, D-Gleam, Flamethrower, and Psyshock, and Terrifier, Flamethrower for that as well. With the choice specs, there's not really a lot of good switch-ins to this. Neutral hits are probably doing 50 to 60 minimum, and assuming we don't run into an immunity like trying to Psyshock a Darkrai, we're probably just going to be blowing up the entire team when this gets opportunities to come in. It is frail, so we do need to position it accordingly, but I am confident that Azelf can be positioned to get a lot of kills in this game. Next up is Zapdos. We need something for his Zapdos, the Galar variant, so we're bringing Cantonian Zapdos with, I think, pretty much the same set as last week: Hurricane, Heatwave, Roost, and U-Turn. With 4 special attack investment, provided we land, Hurricane will always kill a 252 HP Sinistra with no special bulk, which is, and assuming it hasn't terrestrialized, and that we land Hurricane. So that's really great. Heatwave is also very strong into Pokemon that might want to switch into Zapdos, something like an Excadrill or a Klefki, for example. Don't want to take Heat Waves. Roost for longevity, and U-Turn just to get out of there if we need to. His physical threats in Excadrill and Galarian Zapdos really struggle to break Zapdos. I think G Zapdos gets Knockoff as its best move, and Excadrill gets Rock Slide, but if you're speed boosting nature, I think you're only doing like 30% or something like that, which is crazy. So we should be able to Roost and hopefully not get overloaded and take on those physical threats. Up next, also coming off the bench this week, is Primarina. We have a very goofy set this week with leftovers and a good amount of special bulk, as well as a lot of speed. The speed is for, hopefully, to creep Sinistra, because Klefki reaches 186 speed. To creep that would put you at 187. If you wanted to creep a Pokemon creeping that, you'd be at 188, and so that's where I expect Sinistra to be. So I'm going to 189. Is this going to work out? Probably not, but I'm very greedy, and we're going to try it anyways. Why does it matter that we are faster than both Klefki and Sinistra? For Klefki, while it can use Prankster to get a priority boost to status moves, we can Encore to lock it into one of those to prevent us from losing to a Stored Power or a Draining Kiss sweep if it is a Double Dance set, or you can lock it into something like T-Wave when we have Zapdos, and also coming up Mamoswine, who can take a T-Wave pretty freely. Or Spikes is not the best move to lock it into, but it does exist. And then also with Psychic Noise disabling Machagacha from Sinistra, if we can outspeed it or call the switch correctly, the only move it will likely have to hit Primarina is Shadow Ball, assuming he doesn't expect this and bring like Energy Ball or Giga Drain. I guess Giga Drain also gets stopped, so I don't even know if Sinistra gets Energy Ball, but it would be a pretty crazy play to make. Anyways, we eat Shadow Balls for breakfast, and we can encore a Sinistra into a Calm Mind, and either Calm Mind ourselves or get out into something that can handle it. But if we're faster than Sinistra, this should be a great check. If we're slower, it might get a little dicey, but it is what it is. Otherwise, we're a great switch into Keldeo, who I think is a pretty bad matchup into our team, but I could see it coming as like a potential Greninja prevention because you resist the water dark stabs. But I think, and you have priority vacuum wave as well to stop sweeps. I think Pheasantipity is probably a better call for that with its even higher bulk. But you know, Keldeo is something that could come, so that is another reason to bring Primarina. Next up is Mamoswine, our second choice item of the week. Choice banded Mamoswine, running Earthquake, Icicle Crash, Ice Shard, and Knockoff. Just max attack Adamant with speed for, I believe it was Sinistra. And then otherwise just everything else into HP with the Rocks Breakpoint, so a little bit in defense there. We're thick fat this week. Oblivious doesn't do anything to us. There's no Intimidates, and we don't care about getting taunted. And I also don't think thick fat it's really gonna do anything. But our third ability, Snow Cloak, is banned, so we're gonna do thick fat in case we get a stray Ice Beam or Icy Wind or something like that. I guess I don't really know. Mamoswine is super hard to switch into this game. I don't think that both flying types are going to be coming. I think it's going to be one or the other, and if they get handled, Earthquake is really free. And because there's probably only going to be one ground resist and one ground immunity, if I get one or two plays right with Icicle Crashes or Shards, then Mamoswine can open up the game so easily. And then Knockoff is a neutral click if I really don't need to make a play, or if Sinistra is Terra Ghost, for example. Next up is Slowking Galar. On paper, Slowking Galar does look a little questionable here, but it's a good blanket check to a lot of Pokemon and surprise sets, just with how much special bulk we're allowed to run. Toxic is very useful if we're hitting Sinistra that might get out of control. Like I said, I don't think Terra Steel is going to come, so hopefully we'll be able to land a Toxic in worst case. Future Sight forces in Darkrai most of the time, which is good for us because if we can punish Darkrai switch-ins, that is really the scariest mon for us. If we can handle Darkrai, we should be in a really great spot. Flamethrower is for a lot of the Fire Beak Pokemon on the other side. The only fire resist is Keldeo, which isn't going to do anything to Slowking Galar at all. And then finally, we just have that Chilly Reception for Momentum, getting our Regenerator back. So hopefully this works as a sort of catch-all check for things that I might have forgotten about the builder. And hopefully we can also stop any scary threats by toxicking them. And finally, coming off the bench as well, we have 3 new Pokemon in this squad, is our Calyodon. We're running an Assault Vest Stamina set this week with Body Press, Flash Cannon, Draco Meteor, and Dragon Tail. We are EV to take on, I believe it's Life Orb Darkrai, which could definitely come. After getting stamina boosts, we can Body Press very easily and put things in range of Mamoswine Ice Shard, because stamina doesn't just work on physical hits, it works on special hits. If we take a Dark Pulse, take about 40%, we get a stamina boost. Body Press is really powerful into Darkrai. We also have Flash Cannon and Draco Meteor to either drop a big nuke on something or hit Pheasantipity if that comes to switch in, because we do wall Pheasantipity. Like it has like double kick, I guess, but I mean, come on, that's not going to do anything. And then Dragon Tail, if something is setting up in front of us and looks very scary, something like a Sinistra or a Darkrai, we can Dragon Tail and reset and try and position ourselves better next time. So that's our squad. Some things to note now that I'm looking back. We don't have any hazard removal, so we do have to be careful about getting knocked off on Zapdos when it likely is going to eat a knockoff from Galarian Zapdos at some point in this game. And Azelf, as a Terra Fire type, can also be taking some big rock chips. So just something that I could think about. Also, Azelf's Stealth Rocks is probably something I could never click since I'm bringing no electric move on Zapdos. It's probably worth putting Thunderbolt here in case Terra Water Sinistra does come. It would be nice to have. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the squad and how it matches up. So let's take a look at how the game went. All right, here we are with the game against TrulyAlexO and the Sweet Tea Dreams. We are going to lead off with Azelf into Zapdos Galar. This is an interesting turn. If he's not Scarf, he doesn't know this since he doesn't know Specs, but he's giving up Zapdos here to a Spec Psyshock. If he is Scarf, we are giving up Azelf to a Scarf Brave Bird. So I decided to not engage in that and just go into Zapdos of our own because of how good Azelf looks into the rest of this team. Once Darkrai goes down, we can blow pretty much everything up with a single click. He is going to click Trailblaze, which tells me that he's probably not a Choice Scarf set. I imagine he was clicking Trailblaze to catch us after we go for rocks or something like that, if we were greedy. But that's going to do nothing. We're going to force a switch, and calling the switch, we are going to click Heat Wave because, I mean, Zapdos Galar is so little, and if we get a burn with Heat Wave, that's great. If we get a Heat Wave into one of these Steel types, that's really great for us, and we are going to do 54% to this Klefki. It sets up a light screen, and we are going to get a really lucky crit through the light screen, which is going to save us from having Reflect go up or a Spike go up or anything else. So very fortunate for us as Darkrai comes out now behind the screen. We are just going to go straight out into our Calyreon. Don't want to take an Ice Beam on Zapdos when we don't have to, even though U-Turn can get a lot of damage off, as he is going to Calm Mind. So this is a tough turn now in front of me. If I body press without getting a stamina boost, there's some chances that this Darkrai, especially if it's a bulky setup variant, isn't in range of Mamoswine's Ice Shard. Alternatively, if I think he's going to Calm Mind, I can Dragon Tail to reset this. But I think it's most likely that he's going to go for an attack, so he goes for Dark Pulse. We get our stamina boost. We don't flinch, and we get a huge body press off. He's going to click Disable. I guess I probably could have clicked something other than body press, but to be honest, I didn't see Disable being the click here. He's going to Dark Pulse, and he's going to get the stamina boost and the flinch this time. So we're just going to sack off our Calyreon at this point. Doesn't have any recovery. And we're going to bring in Mamoswine to pick up that easy Ice Shard revenge. There's one turn left, light screen, which means we can get out into Permarina super freely here on the Skeleo. This damage tells me that it's not Specs, which is good to know. It's probably slightly bulkier as well based on how much damage that did. This flip turn also tells us it's not choice locked, obviously, and he's going to switch into Sinistra on our Psychic Noise. So we do manage to get this play right. The Sinistra can no longer touch Permarina, assuming its only grass type move is Machigasha. So we get a free turn here. With the free turn, I choose to Calm Mind. I probably should have just Moonblasted. I don't really know what Calm Mind was covering, since it's likely that Excadrill or Zapdos Galar is going to have to come in here. Moonblast was probably pretty free, or just Psychic Noise again. But at this point, I can try and trade a lot of HP and Prim for a KO on Zapdos, but there's really no point in that, especially when I have just such a healthy Zapdos in the back. So we're going to come in, just eat the Brave Bird up. He's going to opt to stay in a Brave Bird again. I don't think he's going to switch this time, so I do Hurricane, and we are going to land and pick up a kill on Zapdos Galar. Keldeo comes in. We don't want to take a pump. We're just going to get out into Primarina. and sort of repeat this this loop now that Zapdos Galar is gone. This time Excadrill is going to be coming in on the Psychic Noise, and it's going to reveal a Pasho Berry and still take 49, which is a ton. And then we can just go right back out into Zapdos. So this is a really unfortunate blender that our opponent has sort of been put in here. This core really walls him. Keldeo comes in on our Roost. At this point, we are healthy enough to take on Keldeo, and Excadrill is low enough that the rest of the team can handle cleanup really easily. So I'm okay trading a Hydro Pump for a Hurricane here. And if he over predicts like he does with this flip turn, it means we get a free move off on, in this case, Excadrill coming in. We do miss the Hurricane, but that's okay. Also, Excadrill getting forced in here is fine, because this was our check to Excadrill anyways. So he Iron Heads, which tells me that he doesn't have Rock Slide. Otherwise, he totally would have clicked it. There's no way I'm switching out Zapdos into like Primarina here. So he just doesn't have Rock Slide. Otherwise, it's a crazy to not click that. We do get our Static, which is funny. We miss Heat Wave. The Static is interesting because he's slower. We can't. It's very dangerous to Roost into EQ now. But now we outspeed, so we get a super free Heat Wave off. We land on Sinistra. It's super effective, but it does not do anything because of Heat Proof. And we get the Burn, which is honestly bad for us. Because of Heat Proof, he's only going to take 3% from Burn, so he's not even going to offset Leftovers recovery. And because he's statused, we can't Toxically G-King anymore. So this just got pretty scary. We're just going to go for Hurricane, and we do land, thankfully, and just pick up the Sinistra. So that's sort of the last roadblock. There's no way that Keldeo and Excadrill can win this. Keldeo comes in, we're going to take a pump and trade it for a Hurricane, which we do miss. He's going to double into Excadrill onto our Primarina switch, or we just go G-King, I guess, and then just back to Zapdos. Because there's no Rock Slide, I'm pretty free to just Roost here. He can EQ if he wants on this turn, but he doesn't. He just gets the Iron Head, and we're going to pick up 1. We are in range because of that crit for Hydro Pump, so we're just going to get out to Primarina, and from there clean up the game. So that's it. It's we have 2 choiced Pokemon, and they click a total of 1 move and got 1 KO, which is a little sad. G-King didn't even click a move. This is really the Zapdos Primarina show here, and our Kyudon did his job putting that Darkrai down. So very happy with how this game turned out. We had a great matchup, so I'm glad that we could get a win back to stop us from going 0-2 at the start of the season. Thank you for watching, and I hope you're looking forward to our Week 3 matchup, and I'll see you all then. Bye-bye.